This episode is brought to you by the Software Report, a leading information source on software companies and solutions. Today, we speak with Prem Kumar, co-founder and CEO of Humanly, an AI-powered recruiting platform that helps hiring teams streamline sourcing, automate candidate screening, and simplify interview scheduling while keeping essential conversations truly human-driven. Prem brings over a decade of experience building technology for workforce engagement and HR solutions, with a focus on creating tools that make hiring more structured, fair, and efficient. His expertise lies in combining product innovation with deep understanding of the candidate experience to improve the recruiting process. Since its launch, Humanly has supported hundreds of companies across industries such as healthcare, finance, insurance, and hospitality, engaging more than 250,000 candidates every month and driving faster, fairer hiring outcomes at scale. I'm your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoy the show. If you like the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the executive chairman of Market Insight Media and the managing partner of GrowthCap. He is the host of Great Entrepreneurs, a podcast for driven entrepreneurs and business owners. Our podcast covers all topics related to the entrepreneurial journey, from ideation to execution to optimization and to reaping the rewards of a well-run business. In the minutes ahead, we'll share with you unique insights and tactics from some of today's most accomplished and inspiring entrepreneurs.
Prem, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It's a delight to be with you.
Really good to be here, RJ. Thanks for having me.
So your company solves a really important problem. It's a persistent problem that every company has, and that's hiring. And you're able to streamline this entire workflow, it seems. Maybe to kick off, tell us about, why you decided to found the company and what its aim is.
Yeah, so really it started on the candidate side. So my experience as a candidate applying to entry to mid-level roles. After I graduated from college, I sent application after application and was expecting to at least hear back on most of them. And you realize there's just so much volume coming in applicant-wise for these entry to mid-level roles. And hiring teams just didn't have the tools to engage with that demand at scale. So that was kind of some of the genesis of what we've been working on here.
And what is it in particular that you focus on? Meaning, is there a certain applicant pool? I think you're focused on skilled hiring.
So we do cross both deskless and professional workers. These are generally roles that have high application volume. So we're getting a couple hundred at minimum applicants coming inbound. So our customers are spending a lot of money on recruitment marketing, attracting candidates into their employer brand. The roles generally are roles with 0 to 7 years of experience across various industries, but it's a problem of attracting a lot of attention, maybe augmenting the pipe with some sourcing, but not having the humans to engage at scale with everyone that's raising their hand and is interested in your employer brand and your company.
So when we take a look at your client base, what sectors do they represent?
Yeah, so we have a population on the deskless side. So this is quick serve restaurants, hospitality, and on the professional side, some of our top industries are finance and accounting, insurance, healthcare. We have some high volume in the tech sector as well. Those are the main ones.
And you have a history of founding companies and being kind of a tech entrepreneur and executive. Can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I spent about 10 years at Microsoft before joining the startup world. I was primarily on the buyer side for technologies like Humanly. So I was on our HR solution delivery team. We'd build some tech in-house for our global employee base. Other times we'd make purchases. So I had experience in HR tech. And then when we acquired LinkedIn, one of my roles was how do we bring this enormous set of data and use cases into the Microsoft ecosystem and products like Dynamics. So really HR tech, product, data was my experience there. And as far as startups, after leaving Microsoft, went to a company called Tiny Pulse, again in HR tech, focused on employee engagement, and really started to see a lot of the employee engagement issues start with hiring. And as far as founding, this is the first company that I've founded at venture scale.
Okay, got it. So this is a daunting task to be able to figure out how to at scale deal with a massive candidate pool. Where did you start? Obviously, AI is thoroughly involved.
Certainly. And I think we've hit this at a great time. We look at what's happening in generative AI and the LLM world as infrastructure that in many cases can help technology talk to humans. Where
Hmm.
we come in is helping technology actually recruit humans. So knowing all the nuance around how you convert and have a great interview. We've spent a lot of time on that. And really what's happening now is most tools out there, whether it's an applicant tracking system that's sorting candidates, or it's a human going through resumes, or it's a CRM tool that's sourcing, you're not really managing candidates or managing profiles and deciding the 5% of people you spend human time with based on how many matching keywords or keyword sets they have on the resume or profile or LinkedIn profile as compared to the job description. We feel that everyone in an ideal world that meets like basic qualifications would get interviewed. You just don't have the human time to do that. So what we're doing is we have an initial screening with a chat agent, then you go to more of a behavioral or skill-based interview that can be done via voice or video. And we're finding we're getting more data to score on than is happening when folks are going through the existing process. And you're also able to do that with everyone that meets basic qualifications.
And so, how does it feel from the candidate's end if they're interacting with an AI agent? Does it make it any less kind of human in a way?
There's nothing less human than being ignored. And right now, about 95% of candidates are being ignored. So it's almost not AI versus human, but AI versus at best hearing back in a week and then doing a month process. So because we can do a 43-day process in a couple hours across phone screen, interview, and chat, and I will say not every role should be as autonomous. So all of this is modularized. Some people just use certain parts for certain roles. But because candidates are getting their questions answered right away, this is a two-way conversation versus just kind of throwing your application over. We're finding that increases candidate satisfaction. We have generally about a 4.8 out of 5 candidate rating.
Wow. And so, how does it actually look if you're getting interviewed via phone or video?
Yeah, so there's a AI persona. We have a choice for our customers. It can be voice, it can be one of our personas, which are all based on humans on our team, or it can be you. So if you are a customer, you can have an RJ that looks and feels like RJ. The goal with this is never ever to trick the candidate into making them think they're talking to a human. But what we find is if you can make it just human enough, you get much more of authentic interview input from a candidate, which is much better to then score, summarize, and make a recommendation on. So yeah, you have a persona that shows up and they're pretty photorealistic and nuanced. So it's working pretty well. And the video one is newer for us.
That's incredible. So, you could actually take my image and it's like someone would be talking to me.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be your voice, your image, your mannerisms. It's about a 5 to 7 minute intake if we were to do you where you're reading a script, doing different facial expressions.
And so, is it real time adjusting the questions based on what the previous answer was?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah. And I would say it's more adaptive than many humans are. Over the last 4 years, we've had about 3 million interactions with job candidates. And we've also looked at thousands of video interviews. And
Hmm.
some of the nuance we're working with Dr. Catherine Hilton at Stanford, who's a PhD of linguistics. And some of the things are even simply when it's not sure if the candidate is done speaking yet or if they are just thinking. So it's not sure it wants to interrupt. We might do things where it inhales and kind of looks like it's about to talk without interrupting yet. There's a lot of those nuances that lead to a strong experience. And if we have time at the end, I'm happy to even show you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm amazed by this. So, in the sectors that you mentioned, say the 0 to 7 years, what are you going on like in the earlier phase of the career? Because there's not as much work experience. Are there certain traits that someone's demonstrated in kind of school, in extracurriculars? What would you go on?
Yeah, so you make a really good point. So because there is less resume data, that's also why the old way of doing it is not working. You have to talk to these folks to really get to know them.
Hmm.
What we're basing it on, so it certainly varies by role. For example, there's a recent role we're doing that is an EA. So calendar and time management is one area. one of the candidates. I'm just looking at this, and I won't share any personal information, but just looking at one of the anonymized scores, and they were rated a 4 out of 5 in calendar and time management. And that's because they shared experience managing 10 to 12 candidates concurrently. They talked about their experience with Google Calendar, with Outlook Calendar, proactive problem solving. So some of the soft skills we're getting really good at discerning. And what we can guarantee is that it's going to be standardized. So how we're evaluating one candidate is going to be the same. Where we're looking at human interviews across about 3,000 interviews, we found that, hey, if the recruiter was in the same city as the candidate, there would be a minute and a half more spent on rapport building, and they'd have a higher sentiment towards a candidate than other candidates, even if it was a remote job. We even found in some of the human interviews for one of the roles with one of our customers, junior female candidates were getting about 8 to 10 minutes less to even speak in a Zoom interview. So there's bias. So we can make it standardized, but yeah, we're evaluating on both soft and core skills.
Yeah, I'm curious about if a candidate would be a good personality fit with the culture of the organization. Presume someone could answer in the right way to every question, but if a human were to actually interact with the person, they would pick up on other nuances about the person's personality.
Yeah, and that also is one of the areas. And one thing I'll be clear on is I'm definitely not making a case for AI instead of humans. One thing I don't think enough folks are doing is painting the picture of what recruiters will be doing in this new world and orchestrating these amazing candidate experiences. But one thing I'll say is that's where humans get it wrong, where we see most of the biases when you're assessing, is someone a good culture add? And if there is proximity bias or similarity bias where you have things in common with them, you might say, okay, RJ seems like he'd be great to go to happy hour with. So in the back of your mind, that might impact the score. So when I think about culture, it's less about fitting into where you're at now. But if you're a growing company, it needs to be, are we adding to the culture to get to where we need to be, and kind of evaluate, are they bringing traits that maybe we want more of? Maybe we want more vocal leaders. So some of those things can be done. But you're right. I mean, AI is not going to be able to do a lot of things that recruiters can do in building those deep relationships. One example is candidates are curious about what it's like to work there. So our bot can say, like, general, they can talk about other people's experiences, but it hasn't actually done the job, right? So there's a lot of reasons and great spots where you need humans, but maybe not in some of the higher volume first steps.
Couple questions. One is, can you tell us a little bit about the scale of the company currently?
Yeah, so we're past Series A stage venture-backed company. We have hundreds of customers, and we're engaging with about 250,000 candidates a month. That's where we're at right now.
Uh-huh. How do you look at the effectiveness of the solution? Is it net promoter score? Like, how do you evaluate the success rate that your clients are experiencing with your solution?
Yeah, because we're fairly modularized, there's different customers that might be using us for different use cases, whether it's just candidate Q&A, whether it's video interview, chatbot. So the NPS, Net Promoter Score, is kind of varied across the different experiences, which we do really well on those. But generally, there's a few things we look at. One is around time savings, and the second is around candidate rating. So when I mentioned that 4.8 out of 5, that's really important to us, that this is working really well for candidates and they're getting in and out quicker. They're getting to the next step much faster. So we measure that at the end of each experience. You can rate us 1 through 5 and leave some commentary. So that's how we measure candidate side. We also find that a lot of companies measuring candidate experience, it might be a survey like after the interview is done. And what we find is doing it as close to real time, like at each step. So right after the application or right after the video interview, you get more granular data. From a customer side, we're looking at how much time we're saving you to then spend on things like building relationships with the best and most qualified candidates. So if a video interview is replacing a phone interview, it's replacing like 30 minutes of time that would have been spent. So time savings is a big one for us.
Excellent. Final 2 questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who's had a profound influence on you?
Well, lots of folks. I'll name a CEO of a company called Armoire here in Seattle named Ambika Singh. So I've known her for a very long time. They started Armoire before Humanly was started. And I think anytime I'm looking for mentors, like someone that has done what I haven't but want to, and is able to not have any ego about it, but really walk me through their journey is what I look at. So she's one person that's had an impact on me.
Excellent. Last question. Can you tell us about a charity, cause, or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I do a lot of that. Right now, most of my time is with my son's school. So I just joined the commission there, and we're running into some things that we're working through. So that's the main focus. American Cancer Society has been one. My mom passed from colon cancer, and it's been one that I've been very involved with over the years.
Wonderful. Well, Prem, I want to thank you again for taking the time to chat with us today. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you, RJ.